In this lesson, we're going to learn about energy and life. We will describe why ATP is useful to cells. Of course, we'll also learn what ATP is. And we will describe what happens during the process of photosynthesis. Briefly, we're going to learn more about photosynthesis later, but we're going to look at the basics in this lesson. What do you think would happen if a plant were watered but kept away from light for several weeks? Well, the plant would probably turn yellow and not grow much. Eventually it would die. How do plants use light to survive and grow? We've talked about this. The answer is that they use the energy from sunlight to perform photosynthesis and to produce food. Photosynthesis is a plant process that uses the energy of sunlight to convert water and carbon dioxide into high-energy sugars and oxygen. In this chapter, you will learn how plant cells capture and use the energy in sunlight. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. Tri means 3, so adenosine triphosphate is made up of 1 adenosine and 3 phosphates. ATP is the basic energy source used by all types of cells. When we look at a chemical structure like this is a typical drawing of an organic molecule. Each corner in the geometric shapes, like this, or this, or this, each corner represents a carbon atom. These lines represent chemical bonds. The black lines are chemical bonds. So this structure is actually made up of many different atoms. The ATP molecule is made up of an adenine group, a ribose. Ribose is a sugar. So we have adenine attached to ribose by a chemical bond. And then we have 3 phosphate groups. This is where the name comes from. Adenosine triphosphate. Tri means 3. Think about how would you change ATP into ADP. ADP stands for adenosine diphosphate. So how would you change adenosine triphosphate into adenosine diphosphate? Well, this is what we're going to do. When we take away one of these phosphate groups, we release all the energy that is stored in this chemical bond. These are high energy bonds between these phosphate groups. So when a cell needs energy, what it does is it changes adenosine triphosphate into adenosine diphosphate. When it removes that one phosphate group, it releases the energy that was stored in that chemical bond. The difference between ADP and ATP is the key to the way in which living things store energy. Based on what you've learned about the components of ATP, think about how you would label the parts of ADP. As you might predict, we still have an adenine group that has not changed. We still have a ribose sugar, but now instead of 3 phosphate groups, now we have 2 phosphate groups. That's what makes this ADP instead of ATP.